Hi everyone, welcome back to our tutorial series on building a job board application using React Router. Hi, I'm Kumar, and in this video we'll be creating a simple routes and navigation for our application. In this video we will cover setting up browser router, aliasing it as a router, creating simple routes like home, about, and navigating routes via URL, and handling wildcard routes using star. First, let's set up router. We need to import browser router from React Router DOM and alias it as router. Let's go back to our code base. Here we are in our code base. So what we need to do, we need to go and import browser router and we have to make it as an alias as router. This is the first step. And here is the one where we are going to load our other components. We will create simple routes. In order to play with the routes, we need to import routes and route from the React Router DOM. Let's import them. Here I am going to import the routes and route. Okay, so what is routes? So if you see in our any application, we'll have a home component, order component, product component, wishlist component, and cart component. So when the route path is X, which component you want to load? When the route path is Y, which component you want to load? So when I say route path, whatever the URL path. As a part of the demo, I'm going to demonstrate what is the route path. So if the route path is X, which component we want to load? That's what is all about routes. Routes is a collection of route. Each route is nothing but if path is X, which component I need to load. So let's go and try to define the routes here. First, let's go and try to define the routes. Okay, so here I am defining the routes. So within the routes, I'm going to define a route for home component. First, if the path is forward slash, means in the URL after our URL path of localhost 3000, whatever comes, that's what we are going to specify. Here I'm specifying the route path is forward slash. Then I want to specify that I want to load the element. In this element, I'm going to specify which component I need to load. So here I'm going to specify home component. I have not defined this home component yet. We are going to define together. So now I have closed my route component. Then I'm going to define another component for this. That is, if the path is about, I want to load about component. So here I'm going to specify the about component and ensure that all component names should be in the title case. Okay, so this is what. So if the route path is forward slash, load the home component. If route path is about, then load the about component. So next step, let's go and try to define simple components here. Okay, I'll try to define a component folder, and in this folder I'm going to create a home component. So this home component should contain very simple code. So it just says home and just says return home page. Similarly, I'm going to create a about component. Even in that about component also, it should be very simple, where I'm going to specify this is a about page. Okay, now as we have already defined our component with the routing definition, let's try to execute this example. So I'm starting our application. So let's go back to our browser. So here we are in browser screen. Here it says home is not defined and about is not defined. Let's go and import that home and about component. Yeah, so we have the home component as the forwards. We don't have any other URL. Then let's go and try to change this to about. So this is what I'm talking about, a URL path. If the URL path is about, it is going to load the about component. If the URL path doesn't contain anything except the forward slash, it is going to load the home component for us. Imagine a use case where user wants to do a session hijacking, or otherwise we get URL sniffing. So what he will do is he'll try for products. So then which doesn't exist at that time, instead of saying that specific route is not available, if If the user tries to navigate to a path which doesn't exist, we have to show not found page. So how do we define? So in our routing definition, we are going to define a new route called as, if the route path is star, means anything other than empty or about. If you feel anything other than that is there, load the not found component. So what is not found component? For time being, we are going to display this as a not found component as a simple one. Otherwise, if you want to load to the login component, error page, whatever it is, yeah, whichever you feel that a route which doesn't exist or which user doesn't have an access, if you want to define some of those things, you should be able to go ahead and define this route component. It's as very simple. I'll go and import this not component also, not found component. And let's go back to our browser and try this URL now. Yeah, if you see that when you go to products, it says page not found. When you go to the orders, it again says page not found. And again, if you go to the about, it says this is about component. And whereas if you go to the with only forward slash, it is going to show the home page component. Let's do a quick recap of what we have done. We have imported the routes, browser router route from the React router DOM, and then we have defined the simple routes, and we created the home component. Again, we created the about component, and then we have defined the routes for the home component and about component. Then we have demonstrated on how to navigate via URL. We have talked about wildcards, like if the user tries to enter anything other than home, about, so we have put a wildcard search, that is for star. Anything other than that, we have read a found component. So we have created a simple not found component. Okay, thanks for watching. In our upcoming video, we are going to talk about how to create a link component so that we can do the navigation via link. And we'll do a couple of examples on nav link, programmatic API navigation, nested routes, route parameters, and all those things. Stay tuned. Please, if you have liked the video, please subscribe.